Oh, my name is Travis Wolven, and I'm going to be your professor in this course, Public Speaking, for the fall. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this. And really, really, really thank you all for dealing with the last 2 to 3 weeks of just madness. So I wanted to take this video to kind of introduce myself a little bit, to talk a little bit more about my background, and then specifically just mention what types of culture or environment I'm looking to make on this course. Although it is online and asynchronous, we all realize this. We all chose this as well. We can still make this a space, a kind of laboratory where people can have a great experience, where people can experiment, where people can make mistakes, and that'll be okay. So I'll get into that in just a moment. A little bit about my background. As I said before in the email, I've been an educator for about 20 years now. I've taught in South Korea, I've taught Mongolia, Philippines, I've taught in Boston and Tennessee and in Georgia. And I'm really happy to be teaching here at ETSU. I currently also teach at Northeast State Community College, and I also tutor. In addition, I am also a performing storyteller with the Jonesboro Storytelling Guild. I will be telling at many events this fall. In fact, I'll be telling tomorrow night, September 9th, at um, the Jonesboro, down at Jonesboro downtown at the International Storytelling Center. And I'm really excited about that. I really hope that I get to see students either at some point in events or at the very least online on Zoom and in some one-on-one meetings. So I really look forward to speaking with y'all. Now, another thing I want to mention about my background is the fact that I've both lived a life of someone who in the past was very shy and did not like public speaking at all. And I've also am currently living a life where I really actually enjoy public speaking and storytelling. So if you find yourself in either one of those narratives, um, I definitely can connect with where people from different ranges of interests could be at. When I was an undergrad, I took public speaking. I did not know how to study. I did not know how to ask for help. And I just didn't really know how to do anything with a speech. Even though my professor was pretty decent, I just got too stressed and didn't pay attention in class and ended the class with a C, which I was lucky to have. And I really just thought I was never going to public speak again. Now, bringing to the side of how did I start enjoying public speaking, that actually came through finding a purpose. And that purpose was education. About a year after that course, I decided to help a friend of mine by covering a volunteer class where I would teach English as a second language for a night or two. So I taught that class and I was terrified. I thought it was going to be an awful experience. And although I wanted to help out, I wanted to help the immigrant population learn English and figure out ways to matriculate. I figured, I'll help for this one night, but I'll find other ways to help in the future. When I taught that class, it was just about 12 people, people all across the different age spectrum. And by the end of the class, I found myself really sad that it was ending. I found myself really surprised that I had even enjoyed it at all because I'd been dreading it because I'd have to public speak. And there I was. I just finished an hour, it just flew by, and I had a great time. And I had a great time because I found my passion. I found my passion, which was teaching, and I found my passion, which was helping people wherever I could, and especially in discussing language because I enjoy languages. And so I mentioned these two stories to say that these are narratives that I've experienced, these are narratives that exist. There are narratives that are more or less challenging than these narratives. I know that these are not the hardest or most intense stories at all, but they are my stories, and these stories allow me to connect with where other people might be at. And it's also to say that when you find your reason to speak, when you find your reason to get up in front of people, it makes a big difference. And so I'm really hoping that as a class community and as individuals, we can think about that. And I hope that I also continue to think about that. I want to continue to stay an authentic speaker. So my purpose may change over time, and that might be something that we talk about as well. With that first experience, it was an experience where I didn't know how to ask for help. And I just allowed myself to kind of slip away through the cracks of that class. And I really hope that people could find ways to reach out. I really hope that if people are having struggle on an assignment, they could realize that, hey, you know, Professor Wolven and maybe the other students in the class, or maybe other people in your community would be more than happy to help you. So if you find yourself in any of these narratives, welcome. Welcome to class. In addition, I really just want to add that I really do want this to be a positive, safe space of growth, of understanding, and of speaking in good faith. I really want this course to be a place where we can celebrate mistakes, where we can maybe try something new, whether it's public speaking itself or whether it's a mode within the public speaking within one of the future assignments that maybe we haven't tried before or might be a little experimental, but we feel inspired, right? I want us to think about this asynchronous internet space, the community that we're going to have for this semester, as kind of a laboratory community where we can celebrate those changes, those awkward moments, and things like that, because that's all part of it. And in fact, I would argue that's actually some of the good stuff. The good stuff is the struggle. The good stuff is making mistakes and then having a funny story about it later where you can share it over coffee or a beer or a nice cold glass of water or something like this with your friends and family. At any rate, I look forward to working with all of you and just wanted to tell a little bit about myself. And I just appreciate you guys for listening. I hope that everyone is doing well. And my next videos, I'm hoping, are going to be on chapters 6 and chapter 7. Please feel free to reach out with any questions you might have. And I look forward to seeing your introductory videos later this week.